Hi, I'm Resham Arden, and this is the Now I Know podcast, where we cover topics to support our well-being whilst breaking stigmas and taboos in our society. This is my first episode of 2024, and I'm very delighted to introduce my guest for today, Veena, where we will be covering the Firewalk events Veena organises and exploring how you shift your mindset to overcome your fears. Welcome, Veena.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself to the audience, because I know you wear many hats, so tell me all about them.
I do. So, yes, I'm a firewalker. I've had 200 people firewalk with me in Slough last year in the space of 7 months. And that was big for me. Getting people to firewalk, that's not easy. Overcoming fears is the one thing. I mean, I could have organised a dinner and dance. I would have sold tickets in minutes.
Yeah.
But it was hard work. But people believed in me and we did it. The other hats I wear, so I run a few businesses. I run a beauty clinic. I've been a makeup artist for nearly 30 years. And the reason why I went into things like firewalks was, yes, we can put makeup on to feel better, to look better. And we can go and have a beauty treatment, which makes you feel good too. But what about from the inside? We do need something that makes us feel good from the inside so that when we do things like makeup or beauty treatments, it all comes together and then you're a much stronger, taller person and you show up for yourself a lot more.
Wow, I would love that.
So that's why my company, Prettyperfect.london, which is my beauty company, actually organised the Firewalk, because I thought, let me give my clients something to feel beautiful about from the inside too.
I really love that, because really well-being is all about mind, body and soul, isn't it? Not just the outside. So I really love the fact that you do the inner work as well as the outer work. And I wanted, something I always say in my podcast is how I got to know my guests, because people always say to me is, how do you meet them and how do you get to know them? So when I started my podcast, my cousin Navreet said to me, oh my God, you have to connect with Veena. She's amazing. She does all these firewalks. We've got to go to one. So we're still yet to come to one of your events. I'm really excited. And so I started to follow you, and I'm really a big believer of mindset as well.
Okay.
And I just found it fascinating watching your guests or your audience coming on and doing a firewalk. So I wasn't really focusing on the actual firewalk. I was like, what is going on in their mind? So let's go back a bit. And what was the journey that led you up to the firewalk? What made you do this?
Okay. So I first ever did my first firewalk when I was 34. So I'm now coming up to 52. And that was with Tony Robbins at a UPW event in 2006. And I'll be honest, I was there and I went by myself for a few days and I was like, I'm not doing it. I was scared. I was really scared. And it happens on the first day of this event. And I got out there and everyone really does cheer you on. And the person I was partnered up with, and I don't even remember his name, but it was a man from Sweden. And he went first and he stood on the other end and he cheered me on, and there was no way I couldn't then do it. He made me believe in myself. So that was when I first did it. And then life happens and you lose that momentum. So when people say, well, why do you want to firewalk again? It's a different reason every time. It gives you a different feeling. So when I turned 50, I started telling my clients in my beauty clinic, I'm going to do a firewalk again. And everyone's like, wow, yeah, we only ever hear of it at big events, like a Tony Robbins event. So where are you doing it? And I was like, I don't know where I'm doing it yet, but I'm going to do one and I'm going to find somewhere to do it. So off I went, Googled it, and I found a company. And I went and firewalked with them and I took my team with me because I thought it was a great team building exercise, even though my team thought I was totally bonkers and did not want to do it. But they went with me and they did it. So I was really proud of them. So that was in January. And then in 2022, and then I thought, this is really cool. Let me bring it to Slough. Let me bring it to Berkshire. And I did. So then I went away, went back to this company and I said, what if I want to host one? They gave me the prices. I nearly fell off my chair. But I thought, you know what? No, it's okay. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to believe I will sell tickets to pay for this. And I went out to my network and they all showed up for me. The first firewalk in March, there was 80 people. And that was actually now on my 51st birthday because it took me a bit of time. And it was actually happened to be the date I chose was on my birthday. So I had 80 people singing happy birthday to me while I did the final firewalk after I let everybody else go first. So my reason for doing it was I wanted, especially in my area, people to stop just being so scared. Because sometimes when you do this one action, you're suddenly like, oh my God, I can do this. I can do other things. If I can walk on fire and say I'm a firewalker, what other things can I do? So I brought it in March, and then there was lots of people who wanted to do it again. So in May, I went and became a firewalk instructor.
Oh, wow.
Because I thought, if I'm going to do things like this, let me really go and find out more about this, and I want to be the expert in it. So I learned to build the fires. I learned to glass walk, break arrows with the soft part of my neck, and they're steel-tipped arrows, break boards and bricks. And I'll be honest, when they put that brick in front of me and they told me I'm going to break it, and there's 17 people I had met on this course that I'd never met before, and they're all looking at me. I was the eldest. I was the smallest, which I normally am anyway. I was the only Asian person, and I was like, and there was big men there on this course, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to break it. And I think they were all a little bit like, is she going to be able to do it?
Yeah.
And I went up, and they put you in state to do it, amazing trainers. And I looked at the brick and I was like, I don't want to do it. And they were like, you can do it. I was like, okay. They believed in me more than I did. And just the energy in that room. I looked at everybody, all the people I'd been training with for the last 3 days, and just focused, did what they told me to do, and I smashed through it. And I just cried because I was like, little me at the age of 51 just broke through something like this. And I was like, wow, I want to do more. I want to bring it closer to home.
Yeah.
And I want, if I can show I can do it, then other people can do it. People that are younger than me, bigger than me, or even smaller than me. It's not about how strong you are physically. It's how strong you are mentally. And I've made myself stronger.
Yeah.
So then in October, I hosted another one. And there was 120 people firewalked this time. So now in 7 months, I'd had 200 people firewalk with me. So how it came about was just because I just wanted people to stop being scared and show them that I can do it, so you can do it too.
Oh, I really love that. And you know what's really beautiful is that you're sharing this knowledge with everyone. It's not like you're keeping it to yourself and this is why I'm so amazing, but this is how you can do what I do. Do you, after doing it, do you feel like there's things you can be like, I can do anything now? Does your whole mindset shift constantly after that?
Absolutely. So I have firewalked about nearly 150 times now. Every time I do it, there's a different shift. So yes, I do come away and I'm on a high, obviously, after an event. But it's not just because I've done it. It's the messages I get. Like somebody's like, I've been looking to apply for a job and I was really holding back. I've now done it because I'm a firewalker. Or I've now been able to tell my husband how I feel. I was holding back, but I came home with this power, this energy, and I then told him how I felt, and he didn't know, but now we're in a better place, or being stronger with their children, whatever. So it's those stories that I just live for, or the look on their faces when they actually come to the end of that fire lane and they're like, oh my God, we did it.
Oh my God. So what's really nice is that you're not just holding an event, you're actually transforming lives. Way after that ripple effect is, even if someone doesn't probably change straight after, they'll have that in them, that tool, and that fire's in there.
Yeah.
And when they're ready, they can then use it to empower themselves.
Absolutely.
Because I saw one of your recent posts, you've got an event in February. So what can people expect if they are now listening to this and they want to join? What can they expect when they get there? Like, how long is it? Like, is it all more of a... I've seen the end step where people are walking on fire, but what's the prep before that?
So when you walk on fire, yes, there is prep. So it's the mindset as to why you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, how you're going to do it safely as well. And it's making people believe they're more than they are, more than they think they are. There's lots of mind monkeys for us all the time, which stops us from doing things. So the event in February, that's going to be breath work with visualization. So that takes you on a journey. It's 90 minutes long. It's from your past to your future, and then we bring you back to the present. There's music that is tuned to how you're going to be breathing through this. There's drums playing. It's very heightened. It's not your normal breath work that people think about. I do this with my colleague Deepa, who is also a Firewalk instructor and has been on the same courses as me. And she's amazing. She's actually a yoga therapist, so she's a lot calmer, whereas I'm a little bit more go, go, go. So we come together really, really well. So they'll do the breath work, and then we have a break, and then they come back and they will be breaking through a board. So smashing through their limiting beliefs, breaking a steel-tipped arrow with the soft part of your neck. And then to end the day, we're going to bring a glass walk in, which just grounds you. That's the more calmer. Every step that you take on the glass, you think about what you're doing. You're setting your intentions before you then go home. So you'll do 3 empowering activities. You do the visualization breath work, and then you go home. We do it on a Sunday so that when you go into Monday, start of your week, go back to work, you're going to be a different person.
Oh, wow. So there's quite a few activities. Do you get people that say, like, I want to do that part, but not that part? Or do you find that they just, with the energy in the room, everyone just does it together as a community?
Everyone does normally do it. It's 10 to 4 p.m. Sorry, I know you asked me the time earlier. Yes. Everyone does tend to do it. But if you don't want to do it and it's just not your day for doing it, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Some people do the board break, but they might not do the glass walk or vice versa. So it's a choice. But yeah, mostly everyone does do it.
Actually, a question one of my friends said to me when she knew I was meeting you, she said, can you ask Veena how hot is that fire? Because I think she wants to come to it. But I was like, how hot would you say it would be?
So the coal is as hot as fire.
Right.
It is hot. You do feel the heat. So imagine you're on holiday and you're walking on really hot sand and you're a little bit like, and you're like jumping across it.
Yeah.
You don't jump across the fire because you do have to walk with purpose. You can't walk too fast. It's 6 foot long. It can be longer, but we don't do them that long when it's your first firewalk. For somebody like me, I'm small, it takes me 5 seconds to get across.
Right.
But yes, it is hot.
Wow.
It is as hot as fire, but you will get across it and you won't burn. You walk with intention. And if you get a little, we call them fire kisses, they'll go. Just don't give it any attention.
Like that, fire kisses.
Yeah,
that's so nice.
That's what we were taught in our training, fire kisses.
It sounds absolutely amazing and I really can't wait. So myself, Navreet and my sister are really excited for the Feb event. So you will be hearing from me after this talk.
Okay.
But you mentioned the Tony Robbins event that you went to years ago. What led you to go to Tony Robbins? And it's really funny you talk about Tony Robbins because I did actually a course with him that helped me start my podcast and find its niche.
Wow.
And so I follow his stuff. He's so motivational and, just gives you, empowers you. But what made you reach out to Tony Robbins in the event?
So 2006 when I was 34. So I had always been told what to do in life. The traditional Indian girl. I was from the age of 16, I was engaged, married at 19. By 25, I'd had 2 children. So I was always told what to do. This is how you're going to do it. This is how it looks right. And this is how you should do it. I was born in the 70s. So it was very much, you are going to set an example to all your cousins. And I had come from a big family of girls. So when I had the opportunity, a friend of mine said to me, I'm going to this. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, I'm not going to be allowed to go away for 4 days. That was my first thing. I can't even remember how I made it happen, but I did. Paid for the ticket and I was like, right, I better find a way of going now. I think I said it was a work course. I really can't remember. But anyway, I went there and it changed my life. I'd been listening to him prior to this, but being in his presence was just something else.
Yeah.
He's powerful.
Yes.
And it started me on a journey, but then life took over and I sort of forgot that I'd done something amazing like this Firewalk or this UPW course. And I went away and forgot about it for a little while. And then as I was turning 50, and as you do, decade birthdays make you really think.
Yeah.
And there's me like, oh my God, I'm going to be 50. I want to retire at 55. Right. So what am I doing for my 50th? Well, how am I marking it? I didn't have a party. I didn't do anything big like going out and getting drunk. I wanted to do something I was going to remember. So yeah, the 50th was going to be when I was going to Firewalk again. So he did help me, even though I forgot for a little while that I had done something so big in my life. But I think at 34, I wasn't ready to understand what have I actually done. And it took me to the age of 50 to realise I did this a long time ago and then I buried it and did nothing with it.
Yeah, and something you and Tony Robbins have in common is you're giving everyone the tools, and when they're ready to use it, they'll use it. So even if someone doesn't use any of the empowerment stuff after your event, they've got it. And
Yeah.
when it's the right time, I really believe in timing. When the time's right, they'll use that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking about transforming lives you're doing within your community and your network, but you're also able to transform the corporate world as well. Talk to the audience. If there was someone listening that was like, you talked about team bonding and team building.
Yeah.
If there was like a sales team out there that really needed to transform the mindset of their team, what sort of things do you think you could help with them and their teams?
So I worked for a bank where I used to do sales coaching. So I know that they used to hold all these team building events. And what I find is they really do help. But sometimes it's not just about sitting in a room and someone talking at you. Do an activity where it really, really pushes your team out of their comfort zone. So imagine you have a sales team and they're not hitting their targets, or they're not performing the way they need to be, but you know they've got potential. Imagine getting them to do something they really thought they couldn't do, and then saying to them, but you've just broken a board that you thought you weren't going to break. You just walked on fire.
Yeah.
And then transform that into, well, you said you couldn't hit this sales target. Well, we're going to coach you, and just keep remembering that you were able to do this, you can do this too. And you link it. Obviously, whatever your company is looking for your employee to do, you can then build that into the activity. So you can, for example, let's say a typical day would be you're setting your targets, you're setting your goals, your staff are buying into, I can do this, but sometimes some of them might be a little bit like, wow, that's a really steep target. How am I going to reach that? And then you then do an empowerment activity at the end of the day. Then you go back to, how do you feel now?
Yeah.
Totally different mindset. And you keep on reminding them that, remember we did this.
Yeah.
And
you're right, we can forget some of the things we've been taught, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's in our DNA. So I think it's absolutely amazing what you do. And I think mindset is really key. And I think, you know, when I was thinking about you as well, because I'm really scared of swimming, and I was saying, if I just go to the event, I bet like I'll be able to just like jump in that pool, you know, like, because it's that fear, isn't it, that stops us doing the things we want to do.
Absolutely.
Are there things that, I know you've mentioned you get lots of testimonials after your events, but is there like, you know, because you're in the beauty world as well, and what I've noticed when you go to the hairdresser or your facial lady, you end up just opening up and just talking, and I know you can now sort of say, like, you know, there's this other thing we do if you're open to it, because I know not everyone is open to some of the Firewalk stuff that you do, but do you find now having that other, you know, you've got that forum where it's such a confidential, safe space that you already have with your clients, do you find that just having this extra Firewalk is just like, is it something that probably you stand out from other makeup and beauty people?
Yeah. I do get told I'm crazy, or I'm not normal, although I don't quite understand the word normal. Like, your normal is not my normal.
Yeah.
And I'm not very traditional as in what people believe I should be. So yes, in the beauty world or in the clinic when we're working, and sometimes people be like, I saw that video of you doing this. And I'm like, yeah, do you want to do it? And I'll be really honest, sometimes I'm taking payment for a facial, and I'm also selling a ticket for the Firewalk, because they've now been able to speak to me and they're like, well, I want to try it too.
Yeah.
And you've got to lead by example. I can't say I'm a firewalker and I've done it once. If I can say I can actually build that fire as well, I've been away on a world-class training to learn how to do that myself. So I know I can take you across safely. I know what mindset you need to be on. If I feel on the day you've come to the event, but you're not ready to Firewalk, I might say to you, maybe it's not today that you're going to Firewalk. Come back next time when I put another one on, because you're never going to be forced. You've got to be ready. And if you're not ready after the whole speech, the prep, then that's okay too.
Yeah.
Don't feel intimidated that you've got to do it.
Yeah. I think you're right as well. I think if you maybe go with a group of people, like I want to go, but I need someone to come with me, isn't it? That probably help people feel a bit more like, well, let's just do this together.
Yeah, there is that. But I sometimes say to people, if the people around you are like, because I do have some people saying, I asked my friends and they all said, are you mad?
Yeah.
Or are you crazy? Oh my God, we're not doing that. I'm like, come alone.
Yeah.
Because then there is nobody putting doubts in your head. And I actually have lots of people who do come alone to the event.
Right.
And then they get their video, their picture, and then their friends are like, wow, you did it. And then they're like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
And then they feel really proud.
Yeah.
They did it and they came themselves. Because a lot of people are scared to come alone.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just, don't worry, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there. And I make sure I seek them out when they come to say, well done for coming alone.
Oh,
And
nice.
don't worry, I'm here. Come and find me.
And what I think is really nice as well is, if they come alone once, they'll probably go to another event on their own again, like a networking event or work event, isn't it? Which is really great. So the tools you're giving them are just like absolutely life transforming skills, which I think is amazing. But Veena, I know we're focusing on the Firewalk, but we have a closing question on the podcast. So I would like the audience to come away from the podcast and say, now I know about the Firewalk mindset. If you, Veena, knew about the Firewalk when you were in your younger years, how would you have overcome life's challenges differently? Would life look very different now?
Yes. So like I said, when I did do it, when I was 34 in 2006, I wish I had really looked at what I've just done. Because between 34 and getting to 50, yes, there was lots of ups and downs in my life. And I didn't really embrace what I had done. So if I could go back to my younger self and say, listen, you have just done this amazing event with someone like Tony Robbins. You're in his space. You've got away for 4 days when you weren't even allowed to go. And I really wish I could remember how I managed to go. Yes, definitely. If I could go back to my younger self and say, you've just done something amazing, carry that with you. Keep that fire inside you and keep doing more. I think I forgot it. It got doused. But it does. You know, I was a mother. I had lots of other responsibilities and I forgot I had done something so amazing.
Yeah.
Until I had to reignite it when I was 50 years old, so many years later.
Yeah.
But at least I did.
That's lovely. And I think what's really nice is, you know, as much as a lot of people in our generation in the 70s went through that with a lot of double lives, you know, making excuses to go to the library when we were really going somewhere else or something, you know. But it's just showed that now with that next generation, just being so much more open and honest and saying to our girls and our boys, like, you are amazing, you can do anything. Whereas we didn't really get that from the older generation.
No.
So what you've done, you're the change. So it's like, be the change, isn't it? And you're a role model to your friends, your family. And I think I like what you said when you said it, just come alone. So if someone wants to come to your event and that no one wants to go, there will be people like them there and they will connect with people like-minded.
Absolutely.
And you probably create another group, a network of people you'd never thought you'd meet.
Yeah,
you know?
and people have. They've made new friends and they're Firewalk friends now.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. So, and talking about the younger generation, my daughter's now 31, my son's 26. They came to my first Firewalk. They watched me. I was really nervous to get on stage, but I had to obviously welcome everybody and do a welcome speech. And they watched me and they Firewalked with me as well.
That's nice.
And for me, that was incredible because my children would never go and do a Firewalk.
Yeah.
But I brought it to their doorstep and, hey, your mum's organising it, so you better show up.
Yeah.
And they did.
Oh.
And I know my son used it in an interview when someone said to him, tell us an interesting fact about yourself. And he said, I'm a Firewalker.
Wow.
And the two people interviewing him just stopped making notes at that point and said, sorry.
Yeah.
And he told them what he did. And they were like, oh. And they went off topic and talked about the Firewalk for a little while and then came back to his interview. But they were really impressed because how many people say, tell us an interesting fact about yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Firewalker. Or I say things like, I'm a Firewalk instructor and also glass walking and everything else that I do. And people are a little bit taken aback. Like, you know, here's this little Indian girl in her 50s, 4'11", and she does what?
Yeah. And I think that's why because people can relate to you. There's so many people like yourselves in your position. And it's like, if Veena can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's like when I started the podcast and they're like, you're a single mum working full-time, 2 kids. How? I'm like, see, if I can do it, you can do it. Don't make excuses. I can show how I do it. And that's what it is. I think we're so relatable for people like us.
Yeah.
Like they can see actually if we can do what we're doing, so can everyone else. And what's lovely is what you and I connect with is we're just trying to share what we're doing with everybody else. We're not gatekeeping our knowledge and our expertise. We're like, this is what I do, and come let me show you how it's done.
Yeah.
You know, you can also be amazing. So it's so lovely. But on that note, Veena, it's been so lovely to speak to you, and I've been following you for months, so it's been so lovely to just finally meet in person. But let the audience know how they can connect with you.
So social media. So my page where you just want to see all the things that I do, which is makeup_by_Veena. And then we have a page for our empowerment activities, which is Soulfirelondon. That's where you'll see us doing things like the glass walking, firewalking, board breaking. But yeah, that's 2 ways to connect with me.
Brilliant. And is there anything I've not covered that you want to share to the audience today?
Yeah, if you really do want to make a change in your life, and don't wait for ages like I did. I wish I had done things like you said, what would you go back and tell your younger self? I wish I had done it sooner, but better late than never. And I'm just ready to take people on a journey with me. So contact me. And if you're scared, honestly, just come.
Yeah.
We will make sure that you feel safe.
I love that. Thank you so much, Veena, for your time. I really appreciate it.
you.
And good luck with the event in February.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you there. And if my sister and Navreet don't come, I'm coming on my own.
You're coming by yourself. Yes, I'm booking your ticket.
Lovely. But
Thank
thank you
you
for your time.
Thank you very
And to the
much.
audience, thank you for listening.